Oftentimes, if we can look at it through the eyes of compassion, of what the other person might be going through. So there are two steps to this. The first is to extricate the energy from the relationship, that how this person feels about me is directly tied to how I feel about me. Just because he decided that he did not feel the same connection that I did, or that he needed to work on himself, that does not mean that I am not 100% worthy of what I'm asking for. Welcome to the Akashic Recordings. My name is Annette Deleu. I'm an Akashic conduit, channel, and spiritual guidance coach. What you will be hearing today are real sessions with my clients. All names have been changed for privacy, and of course, with their permission, we are privileged to hear these beautiful stories to allow us a small glimpse into the Akashic Records. If you would like to book a session with me and be part of the podcast, please feel free to head to my website at infinitesoullove.com. When you book your session, just make sure to check the box that you would be interested in having your session utilized for the podcast. For those of you who really wanted to sign up for Soul Discovery Workshop, I have great news for you. You can head to my website, and on the homepage, if you go to the little box that describes Soul Discovery Workshop, there is a button there that says sign up for the waitlist. I'm currently in session with Soul Discovery Workshop, and I will be running another one later on this year. So if you want to be in the know and want to be the very first one to sign up for the next session of Soul Discovery Workshop online, feel free to head to my website at infinitesoullove.com. Go to that homepage, click sign up for the waitlist, and send your email, phone number, as well as your first and last name. And I will make sure you get that registration email as soon as the next course is ready to launch. In addition, you will get a discount code for the early bird sign up. So if you are interested, head over there now. In today's session, we are diving into some subject matters like dark nights of the soul, expanding beyond your relationships, as well as how we physically look as we incarnate into different incarnations. This is part one of a two-part series. Now, these two sessions don't necessarily follow a similar storyline, but I did have these two sessions. They were recorded about a year apart from each other. So this session was recorded in November of 2023. And next week's episode, the session was recorded in November of 2024. I like to do this occasionally simply so you can see the progress and the growth of the client. And these two sessions certainly showcase that. We can see in this first session where Corinne was struggling with a relationship that was creating some contrast and growth for her, and how she has moved through her dark night of the soul into a brand new place, not only physically, but energetically and spiritually as well. One of the things that we can cover today, which is diving into your own past lives and just sort of seeing what your trajectory has been.
Right.
We can also take a look at the relationship that you said that you're having some difficulties getting over. We can look at why you have the relationship and what can be done in terms of moving forward.
Right. That's exactly what I was hoping. I did write like a list of questions. So I came prepared. I saw your message and I'm like, I've never done this before. So I'm like, okay, what are some things that I really want to know?
Fantastic.
I've done some energy healing in the past and it's been absolutely incredibly amazing. But I just wanted to kind of get some clarity on my past lives. And I wanted to get some clarity on like why I'm stuck where I'm at right now. And also I've always felt this like intense pull to France and Paris especially. I feel at home here and I can't explain that.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to just get some clarity on, like, I always joke, I'm like, I must have been a queen in another life, and it must have been in Paris, or like, I must have been royalty, like.
Yeah.
I always joke I was a queen, and then my sister, she likes to clean and organize, and I'm like, you were my servant, like, we always just joke about that. She's like, yeah, I was cleaning your rooms and like taking out your chamber pot and all that stuff. And I'm like, yes. And I was ordering you to do all these things for you. Cause I'm the complete opposite from her. So I like to have other people do things for me. So, and she's the opposite. Cool. She likes to do things for other people. So
yeah, it'll be very interesting to see that relationship then, definitely.
Yeah.
So if you just want to sort of run through the questions that you have, and then basically what I do is I just sort of let the guides tell us where we need to go first.
Cool. Okay. My biggest thing is my ex-boyfriend, who I felt like just an intense connection with. And I've never had that with not even a friendship in my life. Like I've never had that with anybody, where I felt like he understood me and I understood him, and the way that we communicated, I felt like just this intense bond between us, and I couldn't understand it. And he didn't feel that. So it's been a year since he broke up with me, and we're not speaking anymore. We were friends for a little bit. And then in March, he cut contact with me. So it's been extremely difficult, because I felt like he was my soulmate, and I felt like our souls just were meant to be together. That's kind of the biggest thing that I wanted some clarity on.
Sure.
I wanted to know, like, if he was meant to just be in my life for a short time, or if we'll be in each other's lives forever, or what it is. And I'm hoping to know if I will find, if he's not supposed to be in my life, I'm hoping to have some kind of comfort in knowing that I will find someone like that again in my life. Because it was like the dream relationship, the fantasy relationship. It was really healthy. He brought out the best in me, and we never really argued. We had love and respect for one another, and it was a beautiful relationship. And I want that, and so now I'm in fear of I'll never find it, and feeling like I'm invisible, and feeling like nobody sees me and nobody understands me. And I feel like I'm just the only person that understands me. Like I feel really alone, and I was hoping to get some clarity on that. I'd really like to know about Paris and why I've always felt like it was home to me. I'd love to know if I have a purpose in this life, and what I need to accomplish, or what I can do to continue to be on that right path, or if I'm already on the path. Is there anything I can do to feel less lonely? If there's anyone in my life that's holding me back besides myself. I have 2 kids. They're 15 and 18, and I've never felt like I was a good mother. I never felt like a normal mom, where they would just do anything and everything for their kid. I always there was no real connection or bond. I do have a deep love for my children, but it's not like what normal moms, I'm going to say, have. So I don't know if there's something there.
Okay. Sometimes that can literally just be a soul level thing. So we'll definitely take a look at that with the relationship between you and your kids, but it could just be that your souls are not familiar.
Yeah.
A lot of times when I do readings for people and I say to them, let's say that their mother and their sister are part of their soul family, but their father isn't, then basically when they hear that, it resonates with them, because they're like, yeah, I feel so much closer with my mom and my sister rather than with my dad. And it's not that I don't love him. It's just that I just don't feel that energetic resonance with him. And that can often be the case, but we'll definitely take a look at that just to see why your children chose you as a mom and what your history relationship is with them on a soul level.
Yeah. I think I've always just felt very not super connected, like a normal mother should. I hate using the word normal, but
a typical mother.
Typical mother, yeah. And then I have been trying to get more spiritual and talk to my spirit guides and pray. And I feel like I don't know who my guides are or my angels are. And I would love to know who they are. Okay. Is there anything holding me back from my past life that I need to work on or move past?
My guides are actually saying that, yes, dealing with the connection with your ex-boyfriend is going to be first and foremost.
Yeah.
And then we'll ask them, your guides, like where we want to go from there. Okay.
Wonderful. There are some fears here in the root chakra. I'm immediately feeling like I'm looking behind me, like I'm looking to see if somebody's following me. I'm looking back and forth, trying to figure out which way to go. And then I'm hiding. This is sort of a glimpse of a past life that we'll need to look at. There are some fears here that are deep rooted and they've been here for a very, very long time. It's this feeling of like somebody chasing you, somebody following you, somebody after you, any sort of feelings of not being safe while you're out walking, while you're just out and about. This is something that we're going to clear today as well. There's an element here where you're afraid to use your divine feminine energy. And the reason why is because it's the same lifetime as the one with the root chakra. So this is going to be connected. They're showing me that what happened during this lifetime was that you were very beautiful and you were connected into a lot of society. Basically, your looks were almost like a curse to you. So we'll take a look at that entire lifetime once we get the records open. They're just sort of giving me a preview of what we need to look at and why. They're showing the solar plexus chakra to me as having like this almost dark green covering over it. Okay, so can you tell us what that means exactly? Okay, so your personal power is in a state of decay at the moment. And the thing is that it's meant to be that way because you're tearing down old parts of yourself and old belief systems. This is from this current lifetime, and it is a process that you're going through for your spiritual awakening. So it is about clearing out old belief systems about yourself and the things that you think about yourself or that you used to think about yourself. And so they're showing these to me as like, they're old, they're decaying, they're no longer serving you. Mm-hmm. So these are the things that are sort of moving through and sort of leaving your energy field as you do this work. They usually show me the heart chakra like a garden, and I am seeing your garden, but it's like it's in nighttime and the moon is out. It's like a crescent moon and it's permanently that way. Oh, yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Thank you. I love when my guides do that. So yeah, they're saying like dark night of the soul. That's partially of what you're going through right now. The feeling of loneliness, the feeling of being alone, like the feeling that nobody understands you. Like that's all part of the dark night of the soul that you're going through at this moment. Are you familiar with that term, with that phrase?
No.
Some people might look at it as just depression or sadness or something like that. But a dark night of the soul is essentially a stage, if you will, in your spiritual awakening. Now, you can have many of these, and I have had many of these throughout my experience. The first one is usually pretty rough. Okay. They're saying to me that your ex-boyfriend actually triggered yours. And this is what, sort of led you down the process of self-improvement, of looking through your old energies and deciding what is going to be sticking around and what isn't. So as we shed these old energies, like I was seeing in your solar plexus chakra, it creates this sort of fear and almost like an identity crisis where you don't know who you are. You don't know where you're going. Nobody understands you. Your friends are kind of falling away, like people that you knew and loved, maybe you don't connect with anymore. Like, things you used to do that used to be fun for you. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, these things are no longer fun for me. I don't understand why I don't like this thing anymore. Yeah. It's that kind of stuff that is very, very common in the first dark night of the soul that you have on your spiritual awakening. And it sounds like you're having all of those things, correct? Yeah. Yeah. And as your crown chakra opens more and more and more, you will get closer and closer to the information that you're looking for, and you'll be able to get it yourself. And the third eye is completely closed at this moment. And that's completely understandable given what you're going through. When you're going through a dark night of the soul, the third eye, you don't want the third eye necessarily open all the time because it would just be like too intense of an energy to go through. This is the internal work that you're doing. This is the energetic work that you're doing within yourself. Your third eye sort of needs to stay a little bit dormant during this time, and that's fine. Okay, so then let's move that energy down into your throat chakra. I'm seeing you speaking, and like you're talking and you're talking and you're talking and you're talking, and nobody's hearing you. Even though they're listening, maybe they're listening, but the words that are coming out of your mouth are not something that they're receiving. So it's like you can talk all day long, but you feel like you're basically talking to a brick wall.
Right.
Hello to Akula, my Akashic guide. How are you? All right, great. Thank you. Thank you to Archangel Metatron and Archangel Sandalphon for also being here and allowing us access to the Akashic records and giving us the information that we need Okay, so we are opening up the Akashic records. Thank you. We're going to ask about the relationship that you have with your ex-boyfriend. How many lifetimes have they had together? They've had many. Are they part of soul family? They are not part of soul family. Okay. So how many lifetimes do we need to look at then? 2. Okay. So let's take a look at that first lifetime, please. They're showing me that this is in response to the lifetime that you had that we'll look at that is affecting the root chakra and the sacral. They're showing me just sort of a precursor to this lifetime with your ex. And it's like you're still in that fear energy of somebody's chasing you, somebody's after you, that kind of thing in this lifetime. So they're saying it was literally the next lifetime after the one that we're going to look at that has the root chakra issue in it. And I just asked them if we need to look at that first. They said no. So we're going to start here and then we're going to backtrack. You are incarnated again as a very, very attractive woman. You have this beautiful ball gown on. You're at an event. It is at a palace of some sort. You're not the queen, but you are part of the court. You're very, very timid and very shy, and you're very, very scared in general. Like, I'm just seeing you're just very jumpy. You're just very, like, everything startles you. See, I'm hearing the words dainty. You're very dainty, like you would swoon and pass out at the drop of a hat. Like you're very just almost fragile. Okay. Mm-hmm. I keep on hearing like little bird. You're like this little bird and you're just, that's an indication. Okay. This was in England. You met this man at this ball, at this party, and he was very kind. And this was, in fact, your ex. It was the first time you had met somebody who was so gentle and so kind. Mm-hmm. And his energy made you feel at ease. And he has been incarnating with you for many, many lifetimes. Even though he's not part of soul family, your souls know each other and you're quite familiar with each other. There has been this camaraderie you've had with each other on a soul level. He incarnated in this particular lifetime with you where you were in England because you really had to get through the trauma of the previous lifetime you had had. And so he came in to help you through that trauma. He came in, he was very nurturing with you. He was very careful with you. He was just very, very gentle. I just keep on getting this very soft energy between the two of you. And everything flowed very easily. You got married, you had children. It was all very easy. It was a very easy lifetime for you. And this is something that you did sign up for. After having the trauma of the previous lifetime, you wanted something that was easy the following lifetime to just get over the trauma of what had happened in the previous one. I'm not sure why this is significant, but you had a son and he was older when this happened, but he was maybe in his 20s and you were an older woman. He died. And I'm hearing it in battle, he died, which wasn't particularly devastating to you because it was just something that happened back then. People went to battle and they died all the time. It wasn't something that was super shocking. And to you, that was like an honorable death. So it wasn't anything super traumatic for you. But they're saying that this does have a little bit to do with your current relationship with your children, because it's almost as if in that lifetime you removed that feeling of connection to him because you felt that if you were more connected to him, you would just crumple from the grief of losing him. I'm getting like it's a very logical way of looking at things. It's a very logical way of saying, oh yeah, okay. Yep. He was a soldier. He died with honor. I accept that. Like, you were very logical about it. So you didn't really feel the emotions that you needed to feel. Your husband died in that lifetime first, but not much after did you cross over at around the same time. So I'm getting within 6 months of each other, you both crossed over. Is there anything else we need to know about that lifetime? No, not at this time. Okay, so we're going to go into the second lifetime, and that's going to help us understand a little bit more about why you both connected in this lifetime as well. Oh, is this prior to this? Yes. Okay. So we're going actually back in the timeline. Oh, this is the origin of when you both first started incarnating together. I'm getting that it was 70 lifetimes ago. Did their souls meet before this lifetime? No, this was the first time they had connected. Okay. Oh, okay. So I'm seeing you're a woman in this lifetime. You have a baby and you're basically all alone. You don't have anybody. You don't have a husband. You don't have any other children. I'm seeing you wrapped in some sort of traditional dress. I'm getting that this is where modern day Pakistan would be now. They're saying like right on the border between like Pakistan and India. And essentially you met this man and he was a holy man. And he basically took you in, you and your child. He helped you raise the child. He helped you get back on your feet. You were not the only person he helped. He helped many people, but you both sort of took a liking to each other. You both liked each other's energy. And in fact, you both have the same soul origin. And so your frequencies are similar. Your energetic frequencies are similar, even though you had never met prior to this moment. As souls, you have this similar frequency that allows this ease of love, this ease of connection. In this lifetime, you basically said to him, I want to learn from you. I want to learn everything I can from you. Please teach me. Please teach me everything you can teach me. So he taught you some of the ancient scripts. You couldn't read them, but at the very least, you memorized them as he would say them to you. So he would say them to you and then you would repeat them back and you memorized them that way. You became a very sort of holy woman as well. You were very connected to the divine. You told him that you would dedicate your life to helping others, just as he had helped you. And I keep on hearing you ask him, like, please be my teacher. Please be my teacher. And this is on a soul level as well as a human level, because his soul is slightly more advanced. And I don't mean that in a way that he's better than. It's just that his soul has had more experiences than you have. And so you can learn from him from that respect. Essentially, you had signed up to have him in your life almost as a mentor over the course of all of these lifetimes. So they're saying that this was 70 lifetimes ago. Over the 70 lifetimes, he has shown up in your life in various different ways, in the way in which he needed to show up to be able to help you learn what you need to learn. So sometimes that meant he showed up as a support, which is what we saw in the lifetime when you were in England. And then sometimes he showed up as almost the villain in your story, just to give you the contrast that you needed to be able to move forward. So then how does that pertain to what she signed up for with him in this lifetime? Is their soul contract done for this lifetime? It is. Okay. So I'm not seeing that you would be connecting again in this lifetime. And the reason why is because I'm seeing him, he's like cutting the ties between you and him.
Yeah.
Just on a human level, because it's like he's basically saying to you, I've taught you everything that you need to know. You have all the tools that you need. Now you have to go and do this on your own. You don't need me anymore. You need to be able to stand on your own 2 feet and do this yourself. So it's kind of that tough love teacher. Okay. It's that tough love saying, hey, you don't need to hang on to me anymore. You know everything you need to know. You have everything within you to succeed and to do what you need to do as a soul. And now it's time for you to try everything on your own. Your connection in this lifetime was a reminder of who he is to you, of who you are and what journey you're taking and what you're doing. And the reminder was there, simply kickstart your spiritual awakening. Were you on the spiritual path before you met him?
I was. I sort of was. I was on the path of finding myself again and loving myself. Because I couldn't say that I loved myself 4 years ago. And so I was trying to find myself again and find my purpose in life and love myself and be confident again. And I always felt like I was spiritually ahead of him. And I felt like that's what kind of caused it to dissolve, is that his fear was holding him back from being able to accept the love that I was giving him. And I was ahead of him in my journey. I was like a full year or 2 ahead of him, and he was just getting started. And I think that that's why we connected, is because we had the struggles and the insecurities and the very similar like pains and struggles in our life. And we kind of connected with that, that I was trying to show him like, hey, you know, there's another side of this and you can get through it. And we kind of were, I think, trying to be unbroken together and kind of learn to love ourselves. And in the end, he broke up with me because he's like, I can't be in a relationship. I need to be alone and be comfortable being alone. And so I think, whereas I had already done that, I had already gotten to that point, but he hadn't. So.
And that makes a lot of sense, because in order for him to be able to do this for you on a soul level, he would need to sort of have his human version of himself be not as evolved as you, in order for him to sort of push you out of the nest, so to speak, right? Yeah. If he was as connected as he has been in previous lifetimes, then you would be just still looking up to him, still clinging to him, still thinking that he was almost better than you. And that's kind of what I had seen in some of the previous lifetimes, that you were just like, you were looking to him for such support that if he showed up in this lifetime in that energy, you may not have gone off on your own and said, you know what, I need to do this myself, right? From a perspective of this current lifetime, it makes a lot of sense that he needed to cut ties with you because he needed to go his own way. Because oftentimes when we're on this journey and we start to grow rapidly, which both of you are, you can't grow together because you're going to grow at different rates, and then you're going to end up hindering each other, either by doing the shadow work and by confronting those fears or whatever it happens to be. Like, you can actually almost repel each other or drag each other down. That is why oftentimes when people go through spiritual awakenings, this main part of it, if you will, I mean, we're kind of always going through a spiritual awakening, but like when we go through the main bits where we're getting rid of some of the things that no longer serve us, that a lot of times that's when relationships end, that's when friendships end, that's when we might cut ties with family for a period of time. It's completely part of the process. Okay. Yeah. Now, the one thing I want to mention is that just because a soul contract is complete does not mean that you might not connect at a certain point later on. Okay. They're saying to me, don't get your hopes up in terms of like, oh, he's definitely coming back to me at some point. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that don't be surprised if you do connect at other times, periods of time during your life, because you had this connection and this journey together. So you might check in with each other on a soul level occasionally, but the soul contract that you had is complete. So you don't have to, but if you do connect with each other, it's just because of your own human free will that you've decided to. Does that make sense?
Right. Well, I think talking to him, he had asked me like, why are you settling? And I said, I'm not settling with you. Like, you are everything I've ever wanted and didn't believe that I could get. And I said, you've raised the bar so high, I don't think that I can find it. And he said, your bar should have always been that high, is what he told me. I'll never forget that, because I feel like the last year in dating has been one of the hardest, and I've been really depressed, and I feel like a part of myself has just died because he brought the best out in me, and it was easy. Like, I didn't even have to try. It wasn't even like, he brought the best out in me. And when I was with him, I was my best self. It was like I could just be me, and he understood me and he got me and I got him. And it was just this easy relationship. I guess my fear is like, I won't have that. I won't find that again, because it was so incredibly special. And I don't meet people like that, especially in France, you know, like everyone just wants to hook up here.
Yeah.
So it's been really difficult. And I feel like I learned from him what I want. I learned from him what a healthy relationship looks like, because my marriage was not healthy. I was in a marriage for a long time. I learned what I want. I learned what a healthy relationship looks like with me being my best self. Because when I was married, I wasn't my best self. I was my worst self. He brought the worst out of me. And so it was like the complete opposite. That's what he taught me. He taught me that kind of relationship is out there. I could have it.
And you definitely can. It's going to be difficult to find initially, because you are still going through the change process of shedding the old versions of yourself. Okay.
Yeah.
So while you're doing that, basically this is inward work. This is not connecting with others kind of work. Sometimes what our guides will do and what our higher self will call in is they will call in people that will help us move through some of the stuck energy or some of the energy that we need to move through. But if you don't need that, and I'm hearing that you actually don't, like you're not going to get a partner that's going to come in and teach you a whole bunch of lessons by treating you like crap. You know what I mean? Like you don't.
Well, that was my 20-year marriage.
Yeah. So you don't need that anymore. Like you've
yeah.
had that, like you're good. So now it's just going to be about you being the best version of yourself that you can be in terms of how you treat yourself, how you look at yourself, how you show up in the world. Okay.
Right.
So when you do this work, you're going to naturally attract somebody who is going to see that light and who is going to be an energetic match to that light. It may seem insurmountable at this moment, especially given what you were saying about dating here and things like that. You have to just imagine that the universe has infinite possibilities. Infinite possibilities. Anything could happen at any time. You don't know how the universe is going to orchestrate it. Right.
Yeah.
And so when you're ready and the time is coming, you'll know, and you'll meet that person, and you're going to know that that is the person that you want to connect with. Okay. I want to ask your guide. So does she have a soulmate or somebody else that she is soul contracted to meet? She does not. Okay. So it doesn't have to be any one particular person. Correct. So she could have multiple people that could be this energetic match for her. Correct. Okay. It's funny. A lot of people say, oh, I want to find my soulmate. I want to find my soulmate. And I was like, well, you know what? We have many of them. We have many soulmates. If you don't have anybody who you're soul contracted to be with, that's even better too, because then your options are much greater in terms of being able to find the person that you specifically want to spend your time with. So it's about energetically calling in that person and saying to the universe that you trust that that person is going to come into your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have any other questions about him?
Not really. I think my biggest question is I need that physical, like being held by somebody that I know cares about me. It can't just be anybody. Like that's why I'm not just like going around sleeping around. How do I get that during this time? My closest friend here is not a hugger, is not physically affectionate. And so I find it very difficult. I think that's what hurts the most, and I crave it the most, is just to be held and just to hug. It's hard. I'm okay being alone. I'm actually enjoying it, but it's this like emptiness of like the physicality and being physical and not like just sexually, but just snuggling up against somebody or having somebody hold me. Like that's what I'm struggling with. And that's what I'm trying to find.
I'm going to actually go into a channel right now. They're telling me to give you some information that way, because I'm going to be channeling one of your guides. This guide that I'm connecting to, she's got a very, very soft energy and very like excited energy. She's like very sort of happy and excited. It's wonderful to speak with you. One of the things that I would like to share with you is that there are many ways in which you can get this need fulfilled without having to feel like you have to lower your energy by connecting with other people who are not seeking the same thing that you are. One of the things that we would suggest is going to one of the possible yoga studios, and they have workshops where you practice conscious touch, where you can connect with other like-minded spiritual people and practice conscious touch. It is something that will be slightly more difficult to find where you are here in France, but it does exist. You might need to travel to England or to another place in Europe to experience some of these workshops, but they do exist. And this is one of the ways in which you can get that need fulfilled periodically through the course of your spiritual journey. The one thing I do have to tell you, though, is that you won't have to wait long for your person to come into your life, the person that you are manifesting. As Annette said, there are many people that this could be. And so you need to get very clear as to who you want, what qualities they have, I want you to write everything down. And as Annette usually says, it's the intangibles that count. So how do you feel when you're with this person? What kind of emotions come up when you think of this person? How do you feel when you're together? Do you feel freedom? Do you feel loved? Do you feel cherished? Do you feel adored and secure? What are those intangible things that you want to feel in this relationship? We want you to write these down. And then, like a window that's opening and a beautiful warm breeze is coming into the room, the universe is going to deliver you exactly what you are asking for in exactly the right time. I do want you to know that it will not take years. It will not be a long time. So definitely connect in with yourself as to what you're looking for. Connect in with us, your guides. Ask us for help every day, and we will go to your aid, and we will help you with anything we possibly can. She gave me a name as she was moving away, which is Alicia. You can ask Alicia for help anytime. I usually say a very quick prayer in the mornings, and it's basically just sort of a generic catch-all prayer, which says, thank you, my guardian angels, my spirit team, my guides, for helping me in all things in all ways, across all directions of space, time, reality, and dimension. Let there be no limit to the ways in which you can help me today. Thank you. I got that prayer from somebody I learned tarot from, actually, and that was something he used to say all the time. And it's very effective because it covers everything that you really need to say and ask your angels for help. And when you're asking for help, saying the words thank you, but instead of saying, can you please, saying the words thank you is like having that gratitude and anchoring in the abundance of that help. So does that make sense, what she was talking about with the workshops and things like that?
Yeah, I've been wanting to actually start up yoga. I bought a mat. I've been moving apartments here and there because I'm just subleasing. So I feel like I haven't had a lot of time to just start doing stuff like that. But yeah.
One of the things that she's saying is that she was showing me something like yoga, but it doesn't necessarily have to be yoga. Just do some research on Kundalini workshops or something having to do with conscious touch, things like that. Because the vision that she showed me was like you sitting across from a person in a yoga studio and you're like touching hands and then you touch feet. It is like a yoga practice, but you're touching. And they're saying that that could also help you. I don't know why they're showing me this, but in Japan, they have these cafes that are called hugging cafes. And you literally go to this cafe and people are there just to hug you.
Aww.
That's like the coolest thing in the world. Obviously, that's Japan. It's a bit far away, but I don't know, maybe meetup groups, or maybe you can start a meetup group just being able to just hug, or like, being able to hang out together and be able to practice that, because I think it could be really helpful for you. Okay.
Yeah.
Are we going to go into that previous lifetime? Yes. Okay. So we need to clear that first. Okay. So this is the previous lifetime where we were looking at the root chakra, the sacral chakra, as well as
where I was running.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. As well as the throat chakra. They're showing me initially the beginning, which was what I saw in the sacral chakra, which was you being very beautiful. And then it's like, I see you almost like almost clawing at your face, like you didn't want to be beautiful anymore. It's like, I'm getting that you got unwanted attention by being as beautiful as you were. Okay. So I'm seeing in your previous incarnations, before we go into a lifetime, we have these like sort of planning meetings and we kind of decide what we're going to do, what we're going to look like, what experiences we're going to have. And like, I keep on hearing you say like, why would I not be beautiful? Like, what would be the reason why I wouldn't want to be beautiful? Like, that seems ridiculous to me. Like, why would any soul choose not to be beautiful for many, 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 many lifetimes? Like, that's what you did. You basically were like, yeah, of course I'm going to be beautiful when I incarnate. Why wouldn't I be? And this was the lifetime where you realized, oh, this is why. And the thing is that it's not connected just solely to physical beauty. It is tied to your energetic beauty, your soul's resonance, like how big your soul light is. Okay. So a lot of people try to hide their soul light by incarnating in bodies that are not particularly attractive because they want to hide that light from people. They don't want to be seen. They don't want to be hurt. They don't want to have entities or other things like siphoning off their energy, you know, things like that. So like they try to dim their light as much as they possibly can in order to prevent something like that. So sometimes that can happen with past life trauma. For you, in this particular lifetime, so you're incarnated, you're really beautiful, you're quite wealthy. And this is where you were, when you were saying in the beginning of the reading that you feel like you were a queen, like you did incarnate many times as a very wealthy person. There were a couple of lifetimes where you have been a man, but most of the lifetimes you've been a woman and you've been in wealthy families. I'm seeing you walking down a street. You are escorted by a man who then basically went into some sort of building and you were on the street on your own. It was not quite nighttime yet, but it was like dusk. And I'm seeing you take off your gloves. You were getting something out of your purse and a man approaches you. Another man that is, as you would call him, unsavory. He's doing relatively creepy things. So he's like smelling you. He's, you know, kind of getting in your personal space. And you're trying to like move away from him, telling him he's not a gentleman and that he needs to go. He says something like, you know, there's nowhere you can't go where I won't be able to find you. He's saying something like, you will be mine. He's sending some pretty like overt sexual energy towards you. He leaves. When your guy came out, I'm not seeing that it was a husband. I think it was your brother, comes out of the building and asks what that was all about because he sees the man leaving. And you told him what happened and he's like, oh, don't worry about it. It's just some miscreant. Like, don't worry about it. But the thing is that this man really, truly scared you. Truly, truly scared you. You'd never experienced anything like that before. And so that's why you're like, I've seen you like look over your shoulder, like you were constantly trying to look back to see if he was following you, if he knew where you lived. It just sort of created this paranoia in you. Wow. Okay. It's interesting because when they first gave me the glimpse of this, I thought maybe something super traumatic had happened in terms of your physical body, but it didn't. He actually never found you again. Like he did not show up again in your life. Like it was just that one incident, but that was enough to make you literally scared for almost like the next 6 to 7 years.
Is this where like my issues with men you think might have come from?
They're saying yes.
Okay.
The sacral chakra is feeling like underdeveloped and almost like you shut it off purposely because your sacral chakra is your sexual energy. It's your divine feminine. And basically you're like, nope, I don't want anybody to see that. I don't want anybody to see that because that's going to get me in trouble. I'm seeing you in your house in this lifetime and you have ladies who are helping dress you. And the one is saying, oh, well, we'll put these earrings on you or we'll put this necklace on you. And you're like, no, none of that. None of that. Like you're trying to dress yourself down. You're not trying to draw attention to yourself. Like every time you go out, like I'm seeing you dressed very plainly. You don't want to be drawing attention to yourself in that way.
That describes how I've been almost my whole life until I got here in Paris. And now it's the opposite.
Oh, that's amazing. I love that.
Yeah. Like even when I was younger, even in my teens, I didn't like to, I'm pretty plain. I call myself like a Gap girl.
Mm-hmm.
And I never liked a lot of attention. I didn't like to wear a lot of jewelry. I don't dress up, and I dress up here in France. I dress up in Paris. Yeah.
That's beautiful. So that's just showing us that you're moving through that energy. Like you've been naturally moving through that energy without even knowing that that's what you were doing. And I'm hearing that part of the reason why you were pulled to come here is because Paris is very healing for you. Mm-hmm. And I'm seeing that you have had past lives here in France, not particularly in Paris though. But what was interesting is that in that lifetime, when you were with your ex, when you were living in London, you actually came to Paris quite often. It was like your treat. That's where you bought all of your beautiful things. That's where you felt like the most amazing woman on the planet. You kind of came out of your shell because if you remember in that lifetime, you were very shy, very timid, very like reserved and not really super overtly strong in terms of your feminine power. When you were in Paris, you felt empowered. Like you felt like you could be anyone you wanted to be here.
That's funny. Yeah.
That's part of the reason why you came here, is because like you remember that from that past lifetime of I remember I feel empowered in Paris, so I need to be there.
I tell people I become an illuminated version of myself when I'm here.
Yeah, 100%. Can we clear the chakras, please? Yes. Okay. So I'm going to ask Alicia, your guide, as well as Saint Germain, as well as Archangel Raphael, to be with you right now and allow that healing to take place, help facilitate the healing within the root chakra and the sacral chakra, please. Oh, there is one other piece to this. What they're showing me is that the part of the throat chakra, which I'm going to also ask them to help clear for you. The part of the throat chakra is during that lifetime when you were paranoid about that guy for like those 6 to 7 years. Every time you would say to your family or to anyone like, oh my God, this guy's after me, they'd be like, no, hush, hush. It was just some guy, like, don't worry about it. So it's like anytime you would express your own fears or express anything that you had concern about, everybody was always silencing you. They were always telling you, no, it's nothing. Don't worry. No, and you're just like, why can't anybody believe me? Why can't anybody understand my fear? And so that's part of having to do with your feeling of not being understood in this lifetime as well. You keep on speaking, you keep on talking and saying things, but like people are just not understanding anything that you're saying. And it's very, very frustrating for you. Okay, so we're going to go into life purpose next. Well, the first and foremost, you're a lighthouse. So basically, as far as a soul is concerned, lighthouses have a tendency to have lighter experiences on this planet. So in other words, you don't have a whole lot of trauma from previous lifetimes. And the reason why is because your light needs to stay big and bright so you can show the rest of the souls the way. Mm-hmm. So you are a way shower, or a lighthouse is what typically it's called. You set the tone for the energy in any room that you step into. You may not feel like you do, but you do. They're showing me the previous lifetime where you were very timid, and like even as being as timid as you were in that lifetime, your energy was still super big, which was a bit of a contrast for the person that you were. When you have those like butterflies in your stomach when something really exciting is about to happen, that's the feeling I get all the time for your soul. It's like you have been anchoring this energy into the earth for a very, very long time. It's part of what your soul purpose is. It's basically to sort of lighten things up because things can get pretty heavy here on the planet. And your life purpose in this lifetime is to uncover more of that light. So in this past lifetime, I'm literally seeing you being the full spectrum of your entire soul's light. And this is a more ancient lifetime. This was at a time when the veil of forgetfulness that we have was a little less forgetful, if you will. And so you had more power within you. You had more connection to your soul in this particular lifetime. And I'm literally seeing you standing naked in a field, just like putting your hands to the sky and just beaming your energy as far as the eye can see, to the point where I can't really even see your body. It's just light. That's all it is. And this was something that you did on a regular basis. You would go out into a field by yourself. You would just exude this beautiful energy and connect with the earth and connect with the heavens. It's so funny because I'm seeing you do this, and this was like your manifesting power. So like you go out and you do this, and then you come back and I see you walk into this like village, and all of a sudden where there was drought, it would start to rain, or where there was like darkness, then all of a sudden there was sun for consecutive days, things like that. You would be able to manifest things very, very easily with your energy and the way that you connected. One of the other lifetimes you've had in the past is you have been Native American, doing very similar work, actually connecting to the land, exuding that beautiful energy of yours and helping with the tasks of what needs to happen with the land. You give people hope. You give people happiness. I'm seeing people like when you come back from these little sessions by yourself where you were connecting in, I'm seeing people literally sobbing tears of joy because the rain was coming or because the crops would be plentiful or whatever it happens to be. And I'm seeing you say to the people, this is not something that I just do. There are many people that do this, and you can do it too. And I can show you. And so you're showing people how to do this. You're showing people how to glow and connect in and connect to your soul to be able to manifest exactly what you want to manifest in this life.
What's holding me back from like really manifesting is just that longing and that heartbreak. Like I think for me, it's like, I'm afraid that I'm not ever going to fully get over or recover or let go of that, of him. And I don't want to get into a relationship and compare. I don't want to compare. But at the same time, I want that same thing. I want the same kind of feeling and the same kind of love that I had with him. And I feel almost damaged now. Like I can never fully trust again, you know, because it was so real and it was so beautiful and it was so great. And I trusted him in what he was saying. And then all of a sudden he blindsided me. Now I have this trust issue where I feel like I can't fully trust what somebody is telling me. If I get into a relationship and he tells me I love you, I'm going to second guess myself and go, does he really? I guess that's what scares me a little bit, is that I no longer trust when people tell me something, because I'm genuine and authentic and I will tell somebody exactly how I feel. I know that other people can't be honest with me. And I saw it with my relationship when he wasn't fully honest.
Oftentimes, if we can look at it through the eyes of compassion, of what the other person might be going through. So there are 2 steps to this. The first is to extricate the energy from the relationship, that how this person feels about me is directly tied to how I feel about me. Okay. So that's the first thing that needs to be worked on, is saying, okay, just because he decided that he did not feel the same connection that I did, or that he needed to work on himself, that does not mean that I am not 100% worthy of what I'm asking for.
Totally. That's not the issue. I know my worth and I know what I have to offer. And I know that I'm a blessing to anybody whose life that I'm in. With getting into a relationship, I'm very confident in who I am, which 2 years ago, I couldn't say that. So it's a beautiful gift. But at the same time, it's like, sometimes I wonder if my standards are too high now. I was like, well, it was so perfect for me because he met all of those standards. Like he met all of those things for me. And now I feel like maybe the bar is too high and I would have to settle.
So that's the second part of this. So the first part is that realization, which you've already done. So the second part of it is the aspect of understanding that you don't have to lower your bar, that the universe can provide you with whatever it is that you're seeking. What I would suggest is write down in this list that your guide was telling you to write down. In this list, write down all of the things that you really loved about him and about your connection together and how you felt. And then what I want you to do is I want you to remove him from that situation. Okay. Basically, this next person that's coming into my life is going to have all of these qualities that he had and more. Now, the qualities, as they were discussing them, were mostly having to do with the intangibles, right? So how you feel, how he feels, what your energetic connection is. It is much, much less important regarding the physical 3D things, what kind of job he has, or, you know, things like that. Like those types of things don't really matter as much. You can also put those things in. So if you have a particular schedule that you like, say, yes, I would like somebody who is able to work with my schedule and have it be complementary. Allow the universe to bring for you what you are looking for.
Yeah.
The trust factor is going to take time. All you can really do is take time, is to have your life experiences, to be able to understand and trust that the universe has your back. And so the trust that you need to have is in yourself and in the universe. You don't necessarily have to worry about the trust in the other person, because basically when you're looking at him through the eyes of compassion, your ex, you can say, well, I don't know why he decided to do what he did, but I can see that maybe he didn't know himself. Maybe there was something about the relationship that he couldn't put his finger on why it wasn't working for him. So he didn't say anything for a while. And since we've looked at these past lives, we know why it didn't work for him. And the reason why it didn't work for him is because It was in your soul contract for him to let you go. It was actually something that he was meant to do in order to basically push you further on your path and push him further on his path too.
You know, something that just came to mind, it was after our first date and he sent me a text message. He had said, I'm not sure where this is going, but I can say that my life is much better for having met you. I remember just this knowing, like the same kind of knowing that like I'm going to live in Paris someday. It was kind of that same knowing, like I'm going to be with him. It was just this, I'm supposed to be with him. It was a knowing. And I never had that really before, except for about Paris. And so anytime I would get scared, I would immediately see my angel numbers all the time. I would be nervous. I didn't hear from him or whatever, or I was worried about him or something. And I would see 444 all the time. It never worried me, but hearing his text message, I remember just thinking that just 2 seconds ago, I was like, oh, that's right, this message. But in that moment, I remember thinking he's not going to be in my life for long. Like, because he had said that, I was like, oh, he maybe knows already. Like, he's already saying that he's not going to be in my life for a long time.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And it was, for me, it was like an immediate thing. It was like an immediate connection that I was like, oh, I'm in trouble.
Well, and oftentimes when we have that soul connection with people, that's how we feel. But the problem is like, okay, well, the 3D person gets in the way, if you will. It gets in the way of what maybe your entire purpose is together on this planet at this time. The desire of him and wanting him to be in your life is the exact catalyst that is allowing you to go deeper into your own spiritual work. And without that, maybe it would have taken you longer. I mean, I feel like you would have gotten there anyway, but would have taken you longer. This is sort of the catalyst that is allowing you to dive deeper right now. It's not to say that you wouldn't be able to have somebody who would be even better than what he was to you.
Yeah.
It's just when we meet somebody at a very particular period of time in our lives and you're both connected energetically on the same wavelength, it's like magic, right?
Right.
Have you ever dated somebody and you're like the first day you meet, you're like, oh my gosh, this is the best person ever. And oh my God, this is so great. This is so great. And then over the course of time, it starts being less and less great and kind of like, oh, maybe this isn't exactly what I want. And oh, maybe this isn't. And then by the time you've broken up and years later, you're like, God, how could I have ever dated that guy? When you get to that space, it's not that you misjudged the situation. It's not that you had something missing from whatever that was. It was simply that you were connected to that person in that moment. In that very moment, you were connected. Yeah. And for however long you were connected. So maybe with some of these other relationships that maybe don't work out, maybe you were just connected for those brief moments. And then you spent the rest of the relationship trying to find those moments again, right?
Yeah.
What we're looking for is an energetic match that's consistent.
Right.
And not just the energetic match of like, oh, hey, we're energetically matched right now in this moment for the next 5 minutes, for the next 2 years, or for the next 5 years. We're looking for that solid energetic connection that will last. And where that comes in is you want somebody who is not only an energetic match now, but who is also growing at roughly the same rate that you are also growing.
Right.
Keep that in mind when you're putting together your list and everything else, okay?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to close the Akashic Records. I want to thank Akula, my Akashic guide, and I want to thank Archangel Raphael, and I want to thank Alicia as well for being here, and Archangel Metatron and Archangel Sandalphon for being here. The records are closed. The records are closed. The records are closed. Thank you. How do you feel?
More clear. Yeah, just more clear, I'd say.
Beautiful.
I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, hon.
Bye.
Bye.
I would like to thank Corinne for allowing me to record her session for the podcast. It is greatly appreciated. We have spoken about the dark night of the soul several times on this podcast. I do want to mention it again because it did come up in the session. Some people don't quite understand what a dark night of the soul actually is. So for those purposes, for those of you who don't necessarily know what it is, maybe you've been through many of them, but didn't actually realize that that's what it was, is that a dark night of the soul is a circumstance that happens or that comes up that makes you second guess everything you know. It makes you go deep down into that soul level of yourself to really find out who you truly are. It's not a run-of-the-mill depression or sadness. It is a feeling that you are being almost turned inside out, that everything you knew to be true is wrong, that everything that you believed is turned on its head. Now, those are the feelings you have. Is it really that everything you know is wrong? No. The problem is that you are tapping into little bits of your intuition. You are seeing the trajectory of your path and understanding that in order to get there, you have to go through many, many obstacles. The dark night of the soul is created or moved through, if you will, in that resistance. Dark night of the soul is resistance. It's resistance to what is, resistance to what your path is going to be, understanding that you might have to go through some pretty difficult times in order to get over the old energies, to transmute them or to integrate them, whichever it calls for. So your dark night of the soul is an ushering in. It helps you get from one energy to the next. It shows you where you're not aligned anymore. It shows you the things that don't serve you anymore. The sadness and the depression is because we cannot let go of the old. If we were able to let go of the old more easily, the dark night of the soul would not be such a huge impact on us. It would have an impact, of course, but it would not be as significant. Now, I have experienced this many, many times. I've had many dark nights of the soul, and I can attest to this, that the less resistance you're in, the more you're able to just move right through them. I had one just recently that took about 48 hours, as opposed to other dark nights of the soul, which I have had, which lasted 6 months. So you can ask yourself these questions. Where am I in resistance to change? Where am I in resistance to the new energy that is coming into my life? Do I want new energy coming in my life? Because sometimes we don't want that new energy. Sometimes we just want to stay where we are. It's comfortable. But sometimes you have to push through. There are times when the universe doesn't give us a choice. And I'm sure you've all experienced that, where you just get sort of a swift kick in the butt, if you will, to move you in a different direction. And that happens sometimes because it is part of your soul plan, your path, your life purpose. Sometimes we see our life purpose and we know something is meant to be. I can guarantee you, though, most of the time when we know something is meant to be, it almost never unfolds the way that we think it's going to. And notice how I say think, because it's exactly it. It's the thoughts that we have that we form around what this is supposed to be. If you checked in with your heart would know exactly what it's meant to be. The other aspect of a dark night of the soul is time, letting go of time. Letting go of when things are going to change, when things are going to unfold, when things are going to get better. You can choose to get better now. You can choose to be in a better energy now. But as Abraham Hicks always says, you can't get from there to there. You can't get from dark night of the soul to happy, joyous energy in one fell swoop. There are many steps in between. So what can you do when you're in a dark night of the soul? You can take the next best step. The next best step that's going to push you forward in that beautiful new energy. My first step is letting go. Just let go. Let go of that tight grip you have on whatever it is that you want or whatever it is that you're holding on to. Let go. Physically imagine yourself letting go of a rope and just relaxing. So let go. Number 2, be open. Be open to what is coming. If that is a whole bunch of tears, be open to that coming. If that is a whole bunch of sadness and you need to sit on your couch for a day, let that be it. Allow it. Allow whatever is to come. And then nurture yourself. Try to find things that really do bring you joy. Even if it's something as simple as a cup of coffee or a snuggle with a pet or a loved one. Whatever it is, find it and do it. Pull yourself out of that energy. And little by little, these techniques will start to work. The letting go will have to happen often. The being open will have to happen often. These little moments of joy will have to happen often in order for you to fully move out of that energy. But when you do, I promise you that with a true dark night of the soul, you will be in lighter and brighter energy on the other side. Now, if it is depression, if it is something that is more related to something other than your spiritual growth, that is an entirely different subject matter and something that I'm not going to cover today. So the biggest difference, again, between your depression or sadness and a dark night of the soul is that a dark night of the soul is propelling you forward on your spiritual journey. The next topic I want to address is relationships or connections and growing at the same rate spiritually. As we saw in Corinne's session, her and her partner were not growing at the same rate spiritually. And we discussed how sometimes it can be very difficult to find somebody who is growing at the same rate. It's not to say that you cannot find somebody who is. The challenge comes in the speed at which you are accelerating your ascension process. So if you are still in those beautiful energies and you are not moving anywhere and you're not seeing a whole lot of change, that can give you an idea that you're in some pretty stable energy. And that means that whatever partner you meet is going to be like energy. And it is going to help you to connect on a soul level. When you connect on a soul level, then if you are growing at a slow-ish pace, you can grow together. But let's say you meet somebody and you are growing exponentially faster than them, you'll outgrow them in a month. That is why sometimes when we are on this spiritual path, either people don't date at all, or if they do, they are dating people for very short periods of time. It is because the rapid acceleration does not allow for your energy to stay in one place at any given time. It's constantly fluctuating and constantly moving. You could, in fact, find somebody who was in the same place. The only thing to keep in mind is that at the end of the growth spurt, if you will, you have to check in and make sure that you are going in the right direction with each other. With this particular connection with Corinne and her partner, they had a soul contract that they would split up. And sometimes that happens. Sometimes people come together for a particular purpose, like having children, or clearing a vow, or a marriage vow, or a soul contract. I have talked about this before, where sometimes people will get married and then 6 months later they're divorced. Well, why did that happen? Well, most likely it is because they needed to clear a marriage vow from a previous lifetime. And once that divorce happens, that clears it out very nicely. I want you to have hope that there is an energetic match out there for you if you are single. Focus on you. Always focus on you and your growth, your energy, your mission, whatever your mission happens to be, your soul purpose, your life purpose, and the right energy will find you. I would like to give you a little mantra or a little prayer that you can say. You can say, thank you, my guardian angels of the highest light. Thank you, universe, for sending me an energetically matched, romantic, sexual, and relationship partner that has consistency and energy and communication that is completely aligned for me. You can add in whatever you would like to that little prayer or statement. Whatever comes to you, feel free to add that. But that is something that you can affirm to the universe. And in the right time, that connection will come because it has to. Because of the laws of the universe, your energy is attracting that exact right match for you. So the last topic is more about physical things. What makes us decide to incarnate with a particular physical look? Do we know exactly what we will look like in any particular incarnation? I don't know the answers to these questions, but I'm certainly going to channel the message. So I'm going to ask my guides right now if they can help us to understand these two questions. You don't always choose your physical bodies when you come here on Earth. I would say most of the time you do, but not always. There are certain aspects of your physical body that are important for particular spiritual jobs, if you will. If you are an energy that is super light and hasn't spent a lot of time on the planet, it is incredibly important for you not to feel heavy and grounded. So you might be a person smaller in stature. You might be not as tall. You might be a bit more fairy-like. Even though fairies are connected to the earth, they also are very connected to the divine. It is why they're often depicted with wings, because they can rise above and float above. If you are a transmuter, if you are a grid worker, if you are somebody who is doing a lot of energetic work on this earth, you will need a body that is sturdy, that is able to handle those energies. If you are frail in body, you will not be able to handle those energies. You will not be able to transmute them effectively without it having an effect on your physical body. There are certain times where the physical body doesn't make a difference to your particular incarnation. And then there are times where it does. Let's say you need to know the lesson of humility. You might incarnate in a body where you are not perceived as particularly beautiful. And we also say perceived because to us, all of you are beautiful. It is about the outside societal norms of what is considered beauty that makes the difference in the experience of the human. So if it serves you, you may choose to be incarnated as a particular race, as a particular gender, in a particular type of body. All of those factors can have an effect on your experience here on Earth based on the dualistic planet that you currently live on. Certain ways that you look can breed compassion. Certain ways that you look can create vanity and separation. So whatever it is that you signed up for, that can make a difference as to how you look physically. We do have to say it is more important for you to choose your parents based on the energetic experiences that you will receive rather than their physical appearance. The physical appearance can change. You can have a set of parents who look a particular way, and then the child might look completely different than either one of the parents. And that happens often. And that has to do with the strong will of the soul and the soul path and what they need to experience as a soul. There are times when you have a certain level of self-love to achieve. And maybe you cannot love yourself unless you have a particular body or face or look. But that is within you to work through if you don't have those things. So you can see how each situation calls for something different. It calls for what is needed, not necessarily for the sake of vanity here on the planet. There is a particular signature look that you have based on your soul. If somebody were to be able to see your soul through your physical body, there's a particular look that your soul has that is seen by everyone on the planet, but it is seen in a different way than with your eyes. It is seen and felt and heard in the resonance of where your soul is. It is the reason why somebody can be stunningly beautiful, but if their soul is wrapped in guilt and shame, they may be perceived as not attractive. They may not have a lot of people they're attracting to themselves that are in beautiful, loving energy. They're going to attract to themselves other people who are also in shame and guilt. The perception of how one looks is the entire package. It's the energy, it's the soul, it's the physical body, and it is the psychic debris that is around it. How much do you have, and what is it comprised of? We are not too concerned about what you look like physically as you come down to this planet, and nor should you be. It is not something that is particularly important. Okay, great. Thank you. So you're saying that it's not something that is particularly important, and I have tried to impart that upon my clients, that physical beauty means nothing if you don't have that beautiful energy behind it. And it is very difficult because people do still operate from the perspective of physical beauty on this planet. So how would you suggest somebody navigate that? There is nothing to be done other than to accept who you are, what you look like. If you do choose to change what you look like, you can try. If it is not meant for you in this lifetime, it will not be. If there is some sort of reason for the way that you look now, we would suggest that you change your perspective. Somebody who has worked on themselves internally will glow, almost that glow that you would equate with a woman being pregnant. It's that thing that you just can't put your finger on, that glow that you're talking about. That's exactly what a person looks like when their soul has been cleared of most of the psychic debris that they have been carrying around. When they are ascending, when they are moving into that more beautiful energy, people will find them more beautiful. I'm sure you have come across many people where you see them getting a lot of attention, and you wonder why maybe they're getting attention, because you may not consider them particularly attractive. But it is about their energy and what their energy is attracting to them. So pay attention to that. And don't wonder why somebody else is getting more attention than you. We always say, stay on your side of the street, focus on you and what you can do to improve your energy. Not your physical being, your energy. Because your energy makes all the difference in the world. Okay, thank you so much, Akula. You're amazing. I love you. And thank all of you for listening this week. And make sure to stay tuned to next week as we go into part 2 for Corinne, where we tap into some of the energies for her and her kids. And we also talk a little bit about her pets. I'm looking forward to connecting with you then. If you're enjoying this podcast, it would be really amazing if you could like, share, and subscribe. Wherever you listen to podcasts, whether it's Apple or Spotify, feel free to give it a review if you feel called. If you are following me on YouTube, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so you are notified for every single new episode of the Akashic Recordings. If you feel called to book a session with me, you can always reach me at infinitesoullove.com, and you can book directly on my website. Thank you so much for all of your support, and I can't wait to connect with you next week.